All right. Hi, Yossi. Thanks for joining.
How's it going? No problem. There's a great intro. This meeting is being recorded. That's perfect.
Yes, I was working. So first of all, thanks a lot for doing this. Um, you told me
Pleasure.
something. Tell me why are you doing this? You were part of I put together a study for my new therapy, CAP, Cold
Right.
Assisted Psychotherapy, and you joined it, and you told me that you want to do this video. Could you
Right.
tell me why you decided to do this and announce to everybody that you worked through something with me?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, I always have had the goal, or try to have the goal to remove stigmas and things like that around therapy in general. Um, People tend to think that something like therapy is beneath them, that they're above that, and any one of many, little different um, terms or lines that I've heard from people. However, I'm very open about any therapies that I've tried, any therapies that I myself have gone to help myself further my life. But this one specifically, though, it doesn't mean I would give a testimonial to those therapies. You know what I mean? It's like I'm going to sit there. But this one specifically, though, is a little bit different for me because I've tried and have trained myself in like many different modules of therapy. This was definitely very, very different. And I very much feel that once I experienced it, it was sort of a responsibility of mine to say something about it because I don't want to come up after 120 and Hashem said you experienced this amazing thing. I sent this incredible thing your way, through an amazing shaliach, obviously, but I sent this amazing thing your way, and you didn't tell anyone. You didn't try. There are people out there suffering like crazy, and you didn't try to help in any way. So obviously, I can't have that on my head. So I certainly am happy and honored to be able to promote it because it was incredible. It was really, really incredible.
Yeah, thank you. So tell me what was so incredible about it. Or tell everybody listening, what was so incredible about CAP?
So okay, so I'm very into the mind body connection, just in general, whether it was hypnosis or meditation, and even if a lot of these things didn't work, what I experienced with you, and I say with you specifically because I'm not, I don't want everyone coming after me that like they went to some random guy or they went, I don't know, they jumped into some frozen lake
Yeah.
somewhere and
Yeah, that won't work.
nothing
The link
happened.
itself doesn't work. Yeah, you need the therapy piece too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nothing happened other than they were the only food dumped into that lake for fish. And,
Yeah.
so
And
I'm
then
not,
and they have hospitalized with hypothermia.
right.
How's that?
Yeah, yeah. All the hypothermia is on me. But it was a package deal, and not just a package deal, just with package deal with therapy, but specifically, I mean, the only experience I've had of it was with you, but specifically with doing it with you, was so incredible. So where I've tried and have been trained in like hypnotherapy and certain talk therapies and like other things, and a lot of them had this claim that always intrigued me of cutting through the conscious mind to getting to the subconscious,
Yeah.
and especially if you're dealing with uh, um, the Jewish community, but even the world over now, everyone wants not the quickest way of doing something, but they want something. They don't want to waste any time. They want something that's effective and effective immediately. And I found that although the claim was there for a lot of these therapies of um, cutting through the conscious mind and getting straight to the subconscious mind and being able to access it in such a deep way so quickly, and again with hypnotherapy and a lot of these things, they were very successful at that. But when I experienced this, those were more scratching the surface, in my opinion,
Yeah.
as opposed to this, which truly was immediate. I mean, truly the effect afterwards And I was very grateful when we did our therapy with what we were working on together. For me, I'm saying, I you had asked me to be in touch with you in the following day and week, to
See if it worked.
update you,
More than, yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
on what the effect was on. And me being me, I obviously, totally forgot. I left right afterwards. I was like, that was wild. But I left right afterwards, and that was it. The next thing came up in my life, and I had to go do that, and it didn't leave, which for me is very rare. I mean, between my ADD and just everything else, it's very rare. It kept coming up. Like one of the first things that would pop into my mind as I would go somewhere and then get back into the car and start a drive, or I mean, unfortunately, sit down to daven. Or one of the first things that would pop into my mind was the I would say I was about to say was the therapy, but it wasn't. It was the transformation in a certain sense. Was a new, foreign but good thought process or response that I wouldn't have normally have went for immediately in my head, and was working on for a while to try to adopt for myself. And there it was. It skipped the stage of I feel bad about this thing. How can I respond to it? And
Right.
went straight to this sort of, for lack of a better term, daydreaming of the response already, like a mid response. And to me, that was a brick wall that was very difficult to get past. And here it was just in front of me. And I ran the mental test on it. I don't even know how many times of being like, wait, but what about the problem? And the problem just wasn't, the conscious mind couldn't even fight anymore. Like he was just out. He was just out. That historical self was just gone. And it was incredible.
Wow. I mean, what you're saying is sort of like for me, I had this like theory that it would do something, but when I did the study, it blew my mind. It's not like, a regular therapy session, there's different modalities, some are slower, some are quicker. And you could
Mm,
see some sort of shift, but then there's an ebb and flow. Then the person the next day maybe feels a little worse, then a little better. Here, I watched the complete transformation happening in front of my eyes in
right.
such a visceral way, and there's no
Right.
coming back from it. Like that's what I
I
see.
I would even say I would even say in a certain sense, I know it would sound crazy to a lot of people, but if they ever have the good fortune or mazel to experience this,
Well, we're gonna do
especially
it
if
on
they do
Zoom
it
too,
with
by the
you.
way. I'm doing it on
What's
Zoom.
that?
I'm doing it also on Zoom, so anybody could do it
Oh
because they
wow.
could just buy
Okay,
50
yeah.
bucks
So
a plunge and fill it with ice and water. But with the full experience,
yeah,
you obviously get in my office. But
anyone who could do it, because again, it's one of those therapies. It's not EMDR, right? Where we're going to specifically send to for trauma or for, although this definitely can affect trauma, but it's it's whatever it is that day
yeah,
that is on you. You can do the therapy, do the plunge, and be a different person afterwards, which again, I think might even be a little bit of a negative. If I were to choose one con to it, it's that me personally, I hold my problems in very high regard. I didn't make
you don't want to
any
get
of
rid of your
this up.
problems.
My problems are the ones that are real.
Yeah,
Everyone else
it's in
are a
their
bunch of
head.
drama queens. But
Exactly.
me, my
It's so
problems are
funny. We have a lot of
legit.
similarities because it's the same thing with me, actually. I don't have, there's nothing going on here. It's me. It's all real. Yeah.
That's so wild.
Yeah.
And there was a little bit, but it was funny. But maybe that's just my reaction. I was laughing at it, at the fact of, oh man, I would have held this. Like I would I would have represented with this issue for a really long time as a character trait.
Exactly.
If it wasn't shown to me through this as not something that's actually mine, and maybe even not something that's a problem. And that
Yeah.
to me on this one was probably number two of amazing experiences of it, was how quickly not only I started, which was immediate, I started behaving and responding in the way that I was hoping to. And and for lack of a better term, became the person I want to be. Um, I also the speed where it cut out so much of the dance that a person's going to do in therapy for depending on the person, you know this more than me. I'm saying depending on the person, could be done in therapy for a very long time. It cut out so much of that dance that I even know I would do if I went to therapy or when I went to therapy. It would cut out so much of that dance and just get you to raw material so quickly,
Yeah.
like raw, real material so quickly.
Well, you're saying 2 points here that to me are like the foundation of what it is. Like one is how quickly you get to the core, but also how effective it could be for every problem. Now I
Yeah.
have an understanding in my own understanding of why it does that. But like why do you think there's a lot of therapies that work for lots of different things? Why do you think, and I agree with you, but I want to hear your take as somebody who's experienced it. Why do you think this can work for so many different issues? And even in the study that we've done, there was such a variety of issues. There was like self-esteem and marital stuff and addictions, depression and anxiety and trauma and betrayal. There was like the gamut of everything. And it was
Mm.
every session had a massive shift for every single person, regardless of the issue. So what's your take on, I guess, what's the core of this that can be then applied to so many different things?
Well, and again, I'm not a professional. I'm not a therapist, but
As someone who's experienced it, yeah.
yeah,
'Cause I think you really understand it deeply, yeah.
I would venture to say from my experience of it was when I guess or the best way to say it for me would be the theory I came up with afterwards is all problems are kind of the same. Like there's no real or fake, there's no worse or better. It's all kind of the same. And I'm sure I don't fully mean that, but I do mean that by way of this therapy, which is that no matter what it was that I walked in there with, I would have came out the version of myself that can triumph over that problem. And to me, truly the best part of the whole thing was it didn't solve anything. I did. But it,
Yeah.
the plunge and the therapy beforehand reminded me, reminded me of who I am and what I can do. And all of a sudden, all this noise that was blinding me from myself. And when someone will say the term like, I just don't feel like myself.
Yeah.
I'm just out of sorts. It shocked me back into me, and when to the point that I even had a question while I was driving afterwards. One of the times we did it, I took a long drive afterwards. I had to go somewhere. I even in question. I'm like, well, what did he really do? Like what was it really? I mean, this is who I always am. And the
Yeah.
answer is, yeah, but you weren't. Whatever it was that was going on for you robbed you of that. And you might have been robbed of that for a very long time if you didn't do this.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, to me, the best part of it was number one, returning me to me. But the reason it would work for anything, especially, I'm not going to get all spiritual here, but we have what we need to solve and to work through and accept and understand all of our own problems. The problem is, and when everyone says they're like, you know what I mean, Hashem, God never gives me anything I can't fight. And the answer is no, he doesn't give you anything that you can. But you're not always you.
That's a good point. Yeah.
This always brings you back to you. So no matter what the issue is, no matter how, especially if it's a relationship in any way, and which I'm saying what issue
But
isn't a
it's
relationship to a
really,
certain
you're saying exactly what it is. Like when you are fully you, you can deal with every single thing in a completely different way.
exact that
And
that's
most problems at
exactly
the
how I
root is,
felt.
let's say addiction, for example, right? You've worked with addiction. I've worked with in the rehab for a while. Like the addictions is a person's disconnection from themselves. They need to escape themselves because of their trauma, because of their
Exactly.
suffering. But when you're able to go and to beyond the pain to a deeper level of yourself, the
Without a
addiction,
question.
so it restores you instantly, at least in my opinion. and experientially. It's not something that you can, it's not something that you think about yourself. It's something that you experience from head to toe. Your
Without a
heart, your
question. Yeah.
mind, every aspect of yourself just experiences yourself completely authentically as you.
Without a question. Which, although I was joking before, I do feel that, um, I mean, before we met, I was introduced to the concept of the cold therapy, and I did it,
The plunge by itself, you mean, not the
unaccessed. I did it,
you mean the
unattended,
plunge without the therapy piece.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it did have this incredible mind shift effect, but I didn't ride the wave. I didn't have a way of hijacking. I didn't have the tools to be able to really know what in the world just happened. Like, I knew it was incredible, and my mind was cleared, but I couldn't focus it, and I couldn't. So doing it with the therapy really got me to that place that you're describing, which is that there was so much that was taking me away from being me, that when I did this, it truly did that. It really did. Um, to the point that, like, even within myself right now, where I can experience the cold, I'll start asking myself questions. Which anyone that does it will know. Like, you ask questions, and there's a specific way of doing it. But I'll start asking myself questions just to take advantage
Yeah.
of,
Yeah.
like, it's too cold outside. Let me take advantage of this
Yeah.
feeling of
Yeah.
cold right now, so that I can.
Yeah. I mean, the cold definitely puts you in that state. The way I'm curious to hear, I want to say my perspective as from the therapist, but then as the experiencer, like to me, it puts you in an altered state, just like psychedelics would do. It puts you in a
Mhm.
very specific state of mind that's very open to profound shifts. But then what the therapy does, it harnesses that for a very specific problem that the person has. In other
Right.
words, you could be in a state, but then now you feel good. You feel on a
Exactly.
high. You could get high in cocaine, right?
Exactly.
Nothing
No, no, for
changes.
sure.
What happens here, if you're doing the session before and we're sorting through what the issue is and what you want to address, then in the cold plunge, we're harnessing that state towards the specific problem, struggle, goal that the person wants to shift, and that creates that integration instantly. That's the way I see it. But is that how do you
Without a question.
experience
I
what the
mean,
therapy
again,
as?
it was a couple of years ago that I did it without. I did it
Yeah,
unattended. I did it without the guidance and without you, and I had a great day. I mean, I don't know what the lasting change of it was, but it was a great day.
yeah,
My
yeah,
mind felt clean. It was just a great day. This is completely different. I mean, it's hijacking that experience and being able to guide it to serve you as an actual shift in how you view you, in your access, really, not your view, but in your access to yourself. And the minute you access self,
yeah.
it was life changing. It really was. It was incredible.
Wow. Yeah, it's unbelievable. I've been hearing the same type of words from everybody. What if you would have to describe the qualities that make it different than other therapies? We discussed more like at length, like what makes this the factors that make this something that somebody would want to do different than anything else?
Well, number one, again, speed. I mean, you're talking about, like, uh hitting an access point. I mean, I think there's a lot of things, depending on the person and their experiences and their maturity level, and there's a lot of things. I mean, for a lot of people, telling them that, what is what are we working through today? Like, what are you leaving here different?
Yeah.
In what
Different
way?
person, not with a
Yeah,
different idea, a different man.
that person doesn't want to sit there opening up. They're like, bam, hey,
Yeah,
here
yeah,
you go.
exactly.
It's this thing. That's it. If you could really rid me of that, like, I'm fine. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I don't care
Yeah.
what you think about me. Just take this thing. So it definitely
We
cuts
freeze
out.
it. We don't take it. We freeze the
We
problem.
freeze it.
We
Exactly.
freeze it
Yeah,
to
yeah.
death.
Well, that's the beauty, is that once you're done, you're like, don't take it. That's mine. It's mine.
Yeah.
It's something I hold, but I want it because I can solve that. I
Yeah.
can do that. I don't need you to take it anymore. I'm
Yeah.
totally okay with it. I didn't realize that my whole issue with that issue was the noise. It's not so
Right.
much the problem. The problem I can do. I can work through this.
Yeah.
I have the skills and
It
the
was the
ability
noise.
to.
That's a good word for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, that would be number one, just the openness that it creates to number two, again, the speed,
Speed and
yeah,
what's that? Openness and speed. Those are
yeah,
the two.
the speed, the openness, and then what truly makes it different is and again, I want to say all this with the caveat of this could have been just my experience. I'm not, I don't know if and and to me that caveat is actually another reason to do it
Well, it's
because
not only,
I
I can tell you
do.
all 20 people in the study sort of have the
Right, that's my
same
point. I
react,
do believe
like,
everyone thinks when they do this
yeah,
that this is something that will only work for me because no one else is going through this like specific loss of
yeah.
self thing.
No,
So,
no one else in the
eh,
whole world. You're the only
right, yeah,
guy.
no, and everyone
I've
has
never
their
met a client
identity
ever who
on
ever had anything
lockdown,
along those,
right?
yeah. Me, and
So,
especially me, I never had such a thing ever.
right, yeah. So so to me, the other difference is that where I've had so many people come out of therapy and say, I'm a new person. I've developed tools that I now know how to X, Y, and Z. I know this, I walked out with not a single tool, not a single anything, except for everything, which was me. I left there saying, hi, I haven't seen you in a while. How you doing?
Yeah,
Everything's okay. You got it. That thing that you went in there for, you got it. You know you got it. It's fine. It's fine. But how are you? Are you've been
yeah.
away? Like I don't know where you've been. Like I've been waiting
Who
for
is
you to
this
show
dude?
back up.
Yeah.
We're waiting for you to show back up. Like it's good. It's good you came. So that I never even heard of other therapies claiming that.
Well, the
So
other therapies aim there, but they take forever to get there. Let's say IFS. I'm a big fan of parts work. That's the goal.
yeah,
But till you get there, it's freaking long, right?
right. So I
You'll have a
think
taste of
so.
it here, a
We
taste of,
discussed this. Yeah, we discussed this once where I think parts work is the only IFS was the only thing that I said that was similar in when I learned or experienced
yeah,
it
yeah,
was only because they blatantly
yeah,
point at self. There's a blatant finger pointing at. So let's see what yourself has to say. Let's see what
right,
your
right,
so
right.
so that is this. You get there. No one conjured that from anywhere. That's just how you walk out feeling. And now, and IFS is very effective where you start representing with self and you realize that, like, oh, wait a second, this guy's got to figure it out. And yeah, it is very similar in that way. So yeah, I stand corrected on that. Yeah, you're right. But
The therapy piece, the whole therapy setup is very much IFS based. I mean, that's the work that
right,
right? The therapy piece is based on there's different parts
right.
and the beliefs of the parts, and then you crash through it all instantly and get to
Mm-hmm.
self, and then the problem disappears. So
Yeah, without a
it
doubt.
is IFS, a lot of IFS content, but it's just that
All right.
you know, the shift doesn't
Yeah,
happen through IFS, it happens through the plunge faster.
yeah,
That's that, yeah.
yeah. And again, that you know, I don't mind saying, I think we did so far, we've done, I think three, maybe,
Three. Yeah, three of them.
and
Three
something
sessions.
like that. And I mean, it's, I have a million other things I want to do now. Like, it's not, but whatever I walked in with, uh, is certainly, um, in my hands right now.
Wow, that's amazing. Who do you think would be, forget about, you said already, all types of issues. What type of person would you say this is for you? Like what type of personality or what type of preferences or what type of, like, who
So
do you
the
say
first
like,
thing that pops into my head when you say that is men. I don't know.
yeah.
Men and all of our anti-vulnerability issued
Well, one second.
rattled
It's pretty
brains,
vulnerable while you're in there. I think there's intense vulnerability while you're,
majorly
but it's about 6 minutes total, and then
right.
you're cured, right?
Well, that's usually the male fear of vulnerability is we don't mind being vulnerable. We just want to be vulnerable for 1 minute,
Exactly.
and then we want to go home. Like we're
Yeah.
not. It's
Yeah,
when people
exactly.
start being like an hour, and then they're like, "And come back next week." We're like, "Wait a second,
Yeah.
what? I'm not sitting here on this for forever."
Yeah.
So I think I would say just men, but in reality, I mean, I can't I can't think of or come up with anyone who again wouldn't benefit from it.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
My pleasure.